be a part of one show and one show only.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the Club and AJ Styles, let's go into the next match. John Cena and Enzo and Big Cass versus the Club. Now, this match I'm actually looking forward to watching because you have Enzo and Big Cass who are so over right now with the crowd. You have the Club who is so over with the crowd. So, which one? And you throw John Cena in the mix, who's still over with everybody. So, this could go either way. I feel that the Club really needed this win, but now that they're on separate shows, it's like, what's the point? I mean, unless, like you said, there's going to be a trade.
Also, Cena and Enzo and Cass are on separate shows.
That's true as well.
So, maybe, I mean, I'd probably have Cena. I'm going to pick Cena and Enzo and Cass to win this match. And for each AJ Styles and Cena, Club, and Enzo and Cass to continue their feuds on their separate shows.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you can have Enzo and Big Cass continue on with the Club. And I guess, so who you have winning this one?
I have Cena and Enzo and Cass. They're really over right now. More over than the Club is, and that's with John Cena. So
see, I'm going to go opposite way. I think the Club are dispersing, so let's get them that one win at Battleground and have the Club go out victorious.
Does either team that loses, do they turn on their teammate?
No, I don't think Enzo and Cass would turn heel. But I take that back. It could happen with AJ. They could do the whole, well, we're going back to our original leader, or get the club, the original Club together, and then have Baylor go and align with him because now he's on Raw. So, we don't know. We'll have to see. Moving on to another Raw match that two guys that are on the same roster would be Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, which this feud has been going on since NXT, when they were in NXT together. And the backstory is they've both been friends, they grew up together, they became wrestlers, and now Kevin Owens just basically can't stand Sami Zayn for whatever the reason is. And let me tell you, I love Kevin Owens as a heel. I don't care what anybody says, he's horrible, he's not in shape, he can't wrestle, he can't do this.
Yeah, you do the Swanton Bomb with that weight.
Exactly.
Or Frog Splash.
I don't know if this will be the final encounter, but
this would have been perfect, though, for it to be the final encounter and them to split ways, but they got drafted on the same show.
Mm-hmm. I could see this continuing to SummerSlam. Maybe somebody wins a title, and maybe this turns into a title match. But for Battleground, I think Kevin Owens picks up the victory over Sami Zayn, even though I think Sami Zayn desperately needs a win in the pay-per-view column. But I still think Kevin Owens gets the victory.
And I'm going to go with you opposite.
Oh, we've been very opposite today.
I'm going to go opposite, and like you said, Sami Zayn needs this victory, and he's going to get this one this time. It's going to be Sami Zayn over Kevin Owens, especially with the way they got drafted.
All right. Next up, we have Becky Lynch versus Natalya, both who are on SmackDown. I think this is perfect for a feud to continue on, possibly the new Women's Championship that hopefully will be announced for SmackDown, because Becky Lynch actually said, she mentioned on the WWE Network that she wanted to go for gold. So if there's a championship match in place, what better way than to have Becky Lynch and Natalya, both very technical wrestlers. And I think this one has to go with Becky Lynch. She's gotten the short end of the stick numerous times. And I think at Battleground she finally overcomes not only Natalya, but all the people who think, hey, you can't do anything and you're not going to be a champion. And she goes out on Tuesday Night SmackDown after her victory and says, you know what? I want a championship. Give me a championship now.
Well, not only that, she's the face of SmackDown, so it's imperative for Becky Lynch to come out on top. To me, she's the number one girl on SmackDown, and they need to show that she's the number one girl on SmackDown and give her the victory here.
Next up, you have the New Day versus the Wyatt family. Now, the Wyatt family has kind of dismembered themselves. You have two on SmackDown, one on Raw. The New Day still very over with fans. But I think the Wyatt family finally gets a victory at a pay-per-view and finally gets the win that they just desperately needed to end this feud and go their separate ways.
I'm going to go with the New Day on this one. We're still not on the same page. I'm going with the New Day to win this. They've been beat up repeatedly and have lost repeatedly to the Wyatt family. And the Wyatt family is breaking up anyway. So it just makes sense for the New Day, got drafted together to have them come out on top and win this one and put away the demons of the Wyatt family, and have Bray Wyatt start off fresh. I don't even think he should be with Eric Rowan. Let him be by himself and prove himself on his own.
All right, agree to disagree. Next up, we got Rusev versus Zack Ryder for the U.S. Championship. We are actually agreeing right now that Rusev retains the championship. I feel like he's just so built up right now, back to when he was this big brute and anti-American, that why would you have him lose to Zack Ryder of all people?
And if he did lose, the title would go to Smackdown. So the title's not going anywhere. Rusev's going to retain. And then Zack Ryder would go, like you said, fight on for the Intercontinental Championship or be a tag team with Mojo Rawley and be the Hype Bros again.
Or if they decide, I was just thinking, if they do decide to go the other way, Zack Ryder, this will lead to my next part, Zack Ryder wins, takes the U.S. title of SmackDown. Then you have The Miz versus Darren Young, who's so over right now, and he gets the victory and takes the IC title to Raw.
That could happen because, they're really building up Darren Young. But would you build up Darren Young just for the fact to bring down Rusev?
No. I'm just thinking outside.
I think the Miz. Now that we're doing this,
but they've done it before. So
now that we're doing this counting of him, how many days he's had the Intercontinental Championship, I think it's going to go on for a little while longer.
Okay.
And I think somehow Maurice gets involved and helps the Miz retain, or maybe it ends in a brawl or something. But the Miz ain't losing the Intercontinental Championship, and neither is Rusev losing the U.S. title. I would not help Darren Young's character just to defeat the purpose of Rusev winning.
I still think Darren Young has a way to go before he gets a title run. So why not build it up the right way? I mean, I was just throwing scenarios out there.
And make Darren Young great again, like make America great again or stuff like that, kind of falls in line with the Rusev being the U.S. champion. So that's what I think they might eventually have him going to the U.S. title.
Next up, we have Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Sasha Banks, and to be announced. And let me paint you a picture right now, my friend. I've been thinking about this for a little bit now. They were talking about bringing up NXT stars. I think there's one NXT star they have not brought up, and she's gotten the short end of the stick not once, not twice. So I think now the third time is a charm for everybody to bring out the hugging section. And Sasha brings Bayley up from NXT as her mystery opponent, as her mystery partner.
You're very anticlimactic with these when you have to say a surprise name. You're very anticlimactic.
But what do you think about that?
I don't think it's going to happen because they should have put her in the draft then.
But why not use it as some sort of surprise? I mean, you have Baylor on Raw.
She didn't get drafted.
Let me finish. They had that whole NXT thing going with the hint when they did the NXT Live, when Nakamura and all of them did like the kind of the Wolfpack, the Baylor Club signage, and then they were doing the crop shots. What better way to bring the Baylor Club than have Bayley in there?
No. See, you had me with the Heath Slater thing. Now you brought it back to normal. She's not coming up yet.
Why?
She didn't get drafted, man.
But there's still a spot. There's still an NXT spot that wasn't taken.
There was. What do you mean there's an NXT
spot?
To
me, tag teams count as one. The American Alphas count as one then. So there's still one more spot for NXT that should have been in the draft, and nobody talked about that. You said before the
Finn
rules.
Balor.
Yes.
Nia Jax.
Yes.
The American Alpha.
Yes.
Alexa Bliss.
Yes.
Mojo Rawley.
Yes.
Who else?
Eva Marie.
Eva Marie.
That was 7. They said 8 were supposed to be drafted from NXT. When I went to school, that was 7.
But why would they do that, though?
You need a big
Why would you,
oh my God moment. Why not?
Why would you draft like that? That she's so, and Carmella's in there too. Why would you draft like that and not have? It just doesn't make any sense.
I'm just thinking possible scenarios.
I think it's going to be Nia Jax.
I don't know.
I think it's going to be Nia Jax. You have too many heel females on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. So what better way to bring Bayley?
And the only other one is Paige. And
she's not going to be the tag.
Unless you're building Paige back up,
no.
The only option to me is to bring in Nia Jax, and that's who I think the tag team partner is going to be.
All right. You want to make a little friendly wager on this?
I will not make a friendly wager like this.
Fine. I'm just trying to make things interesting on this show.
Hey man, I would love it for it to be Bayley, but it's just I don't think it's going to happen because she didn't even get drafted, man.
You never know.
You don't do that, and then you don't have her drafted on the biggest show of the year.
What's that?
And you have who? Dana Brooke drafted over her. You have Carmella and Alexa Bliss drafted over her. It just doesn't make any sense, man.
I'm really pushing for her to come up, so I think a lot of people.
Maybe it's Nikki Bella.
Yeah, okay. If that happens, I'm canceling my network subscription.
Oh, yeah. Another one of these. I'm going to cancel my network. You know how many times a year I hear this from this guy? How many times he's going to cancel his network?
I have never said that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're putting words in my mouth. Oh,
this is about the 18th time you've canceled your network?
No. Well, I get the free month, so yeah, I got to cancel in time so I don't get charged. You got to play it.
All right, let's take
We don't have time for a break. We're almost done with the show, my friend. Let's just roll right into it.
All right, man.
Let's just roll right through, steamroll our way. We had a great 2 nights of live wrestling on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live, Tuesday Night SmackDown.
Well, let's not forget that also the announcers.
Oh, we forgot about that.
Well, I didn't forget.
Well, I did. I'm apologizing right now.
I was going to get into it, but I didn't forget.
Well, go right ahead, my friend. Go right ahead.
Yeah. The new announced teams for this new era: Michael Cole, Byron Saxton, and yes, Corey Graves, one of my favorite announcers, is on Monday Night Raw. And now on SmackDown, we have Mauro Ranallo will stay, David Otunga, and JBL, which means bye-bye to the King.
I think the King will go down to NXT. I think the time is for Jerry the King. I mean, his with all that legal problems he had, and I think kind of upset Vince McMahon, but now they seem to put it past them. I think NXT has a spot open, and why not go down there and try and help groom other people, because he is a veteran. He's been in the ring for umpteen years. He's been behind the microphone for umpteen years. What better way to have the King give his experience and show the younger NXT up-and-comers how to make it in the business. But I will tell you one thing about Corey Graves. It was interesting. Last night I was watching the network, and as soon as Enzo and Cass were picked, and then they started talking, you know how they do the analysis and break everything down, he said he hopes that they break up because Enzo is pulling Big Cass down. And then they had Enzo Amore and Big Cass come backstage and do an interview. And the faces he was making to Enzo Amore were golden, almost heel commentating. So now that you have just told me that he is going to be the Raw commentator, makes me want to believe that Corey Graves is going to be the heel-type commentator for Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. I mean, he was a heel-type commentator on NXT, so it's a nice, refreshing move to have Corey Graves as the heel guy, and then you have Michael Cole,